Welcome to the Real View podcast, where Ohio Realtors connect you to innovators and influencers, keeping you with the real view of real estate. Whether you're a broker, agent, first-time homebuyer, industry leader, or just happen to stumble upon our podcast today, you can expect to hear tips, tools, tricks, interesting information, and so much more from the experts in Ohio's real estate game. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Real View podcast. I'm your host, Allison Wiley. With me today is our special guest, Smita Singh. She is a real estate entrepreneur, mentor, a fellow podcaster, by the way, a speaker and advocate for women entrepreneurs, which I personally love, and just all around awesome person from the few minutes we've been chatting before we started recording. So, Smita, thanks so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Allison, for having me. I mean, this is going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. I've absolutely enjoyed our conversation so far, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, so excited. So, Smita's here today to talk to us about mindset and how that can really catapult your business and you as a person in order to see the results that, we all know you all want to see. But before we get started on that, I have to ask our signature question, which is, what is the best view that you've ever seen?
I know, so I'll tell you, I am a boy mom. So I have two boys. They are 12 and 10. And I think I would totally cheat if I say it was the day they were born because, yes, they were born, but I was just like, okay, you know what? I need a little bit of rest here. But I'll tell you, I think the best view I've ever had is now when they're growing up. I clearly remember 2 years ago, just before COVID, so my husband and my two boys, we love to travel. We had gone to Italy and we'd spent like 10 days. Beautiful area. I still remember one particular moment so clearly. We had gone to this little town called San Gimignano, and it's like very close to Siena. Beautiful old town, has like a piazza, and you kind of walk in those, the cobbled streets. And there's always, I don't know if you've ever seen this picture, this poster of this window or a door, and you kind of walk in and you see this picturesque moment. It was exactly that.
Oh, wow.
My kids went into this little street alley, and this town is on a hill. So they walked on that street and we're like, okay, let's go. And literally, there was that little doorway that was framing it. And, you walked out on these hills and beautiful, like the winery or the wine fields and stuff like that. It was absolutely amazing. The best part was I was hand in hand with my husband and my kids were right next to me. So that is the best view ever.
I'm picturing that in my head as you're describing it. And wow, I can only imagine. I'm sure it's a million times better than what I'm imagining in my head too.
It is gorgeous. I think summer is the best time to go with all those flowers and the fields. Oh, I love it.
Amazing. Hopefully, I know I was just having a conversation with my coworker this morning and she's like, I want to go to Europe. Are we allowed to go back overseas yet? I'm so ready to go over there.
That's right. Of course, because of COVID, people haven't been able to go. But I love Europe. So actually, I lived in Holland for a little bit.
Oh
so
my gosh.
Yes, that's my place to be. I keep telling my husband, if we ever transfer, we're going to Europe.
Yes, agreed. I was lucky to visit Europe in 2019 too, right before COVID, and fell in love as well. And I was like, I could totally be a European girl, like totally.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for answering that and giving us a little insight into some of your cool travels there. Very cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started? How did you get involved in real estate? Did you always know this was something you want to do? Tell us a little bit about your background.
I was actually born in India, and I moved to Pennsylvania for my undergrad. In India, I was in a town, New Delhi, which is the capital of India. And I moved to a small town in Pennsylvania. And honestly, Allison, I had a reverse culture shock. People come to countries and they're like, oh my gosh, what's this? I was like, oh my God, where am I? This is not it. But I did my undergrad for 4 years in a small town. Couldn't wait to get away from there. I hated the snow. I'm a big city girl. I can't do small cities.
Yep.
Got a job in Houston in corporate America, and I ran as fast as I could. So I got to Houston, and I actually worked in corporate America for about 6 years, 7 years. I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, I will tell you everything that I've learned there, I carry with me even today. And I was fortunate enough I have a finance background. So I was fortunate enough I was a cost controller for a lot of these EPC project engineering projects for an oil and gas company. And, I just straight out of college, I was in charge of about 15 to 20 projects. And to sit in, and oil and gas is like the old school mentality. Imagine like these wooden, the paneled offices with like large oak desks. And I'm sitting in a board meeting and I have like 15 older people there and they're like, what's going on? So yeah, it was very interesting. Taught me lots. I had my son and I just felt like I can't do this anymore. I can't do a 9 to 5. And, so I quit my job and obviously then the entrepreneurial bug bit me.
Yes.
And I decided to kind of foray into entrepreneurship. So for about 10 years there, I owned a Kumon, which is a math and English reading center. And then I actually started a retail store, which was for toys and books. And this was a huge, massive, imagine like this 3,500 square foot space with so much inventory. I don't know what I got into. I was like, wow, okay. I still remember that, we had a soft opening. So like the day before I was standing there in my cash rack, we would have a cash register. And I just looked at all the inventory around me. I'm like, oh my God, Smita, like, what are you going to do? Are we going to do
Wow.
this? Yeah, it's been phenomenal. So I did that. I was, retail and service-based business owner for about 10, 12 years. And I sold my store actually, and I had the territorial rights for it. So I sold that. And for about 2 years, I was consulting women. So women entrepreneurs to start their business I was doing that. So I have a couple of friends, very, very close friends that are in real estate. They're like family. And we spend Thanksgiving together. We spend all our holidays together. One Thanksgiving, about 2.5 years ago, we were sitting down and I was wined and dined and I had all the feast and everything. So my husband, Benny, and our friends, and actually, ironically, that's the team that I'm with right now. So they were like, okay, Smita, we need to talk to you. I'm like, okay, let's go. This is going to be fun. So they brought me into the office and they're like, you got to get into real estate. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I'm not into interior decorating. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not into real estate. They were like, no, you have the skills. You have everything that's needed to do this. And you've got to do this. Just to get them off my back, I was like, fine, I'll just do it. I'm going to give it a shot. And it's not going to work. Literally, I was like, just get off my back. I'm going to do it. And oh my God, Allison, 2.5 years hence, I absolutely love it. I'm an accidental, realtor, really.
Yeah.
And I wonder why I didn't do this before.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely phenomenal. And I really feel that, one thing that I kind of take away from that is that experience, it does not really predict your success in real estate. It is what you want to do. I've been in real estate for 2.5 years now, and I have about 25 million in production. And I'm not saying that to brag about it, but I'm just saying that because I want to tell the women out there that, you know what, you don't have to have experience in real estate. You don't have to have experience in interior decorating, because that's the mindset people end up thinking. You don't. If there's something that you want to do, you can absolutely do it, because I've done it.
And you can find success in it. And
Yes.
One of the things, that you accredit that 2-year amazing growth span and you've had so much success is because you've approached it with the right mindset.
Absolutely.
And the importance of that. And that's kind of how you accredit some of your success to that.
Most definitely. And I'll tell you, I'll go back to that day when I was about to start that store. I had no experience in retail, And when I stood there in that cash wrap, the only thing I said to myself is, you know what? You've got this. Because at the end of the day, if I can stand there and say that I'm going to do it, I will do whatever it takes to get it done. And it is all about mindset, be it real estate, be it whatever you're doing, whichever part of your life you're in, whichever journey you're in, mindset is key.
This episode of The Real View is brought to you by the Ohio Association of Community Colleges. Ohio's network of community colleges provides accessible training that accommodates the busy lifestyles of aspiring real estate professionals at half the price of a traditional university. With convenient locations in every part of the state, as well as online options, Ohio's community colleges are your smart choice for pre-licensing education. For more details or to start the journey to a real estate career, visit the education page at ohiorealtors.org and then click on the pre-license course locations.
Talk to us a little bit about what exactly is mindset. We've heard that word. What is it? What does it mean? And how does it play a role in our lives, personally and professionally?
I really, truly believe that mindset is what drives you. So I'll kind of take a step back here very quickly. And in real estate, as a realtor, there's 5 million things we got to do. We've got to do lead generation. We've got to go service our clients. We've got to keep ourselves out there. We've got to keep working through our educational development. I mean, there's so much. We wear so many hats. But what is the one thing that gets you going when the going gets tough? That is mindset. So I actually derive mindset as part of a bigger picture. If you don't mind, I'll share with you kind of a framework that I've put together for myself as well.
Yeah.
And this is from all of my experience working in sales as a professional in corporate America. So I really say, you move into success. And what that means is it's an acronym. So move in. M is mindset, because that is the number one thing. O is your organizational systems or processes, because that's very important. Without a system and a process, you're going to be all over the place. V for a realtor is visibility, right? So you need to be out there. You need to be visible. And I'm not talking about marketing. I'm talking about visibility in terms of your marketing, your publicity, PR, all of that stuff. So V is visibility. E is education, because we have to be completely all the time. We're doing our CE courses and we're going through those things, and also on the job training, right? I is your identifying leads, so your whole lead generation system. N is nurturing, your clients, nurturing your team, if you're part of a team or if you're building a team. So I call it move into success. And the number one thing, which, how we connected is mindset, is what I wrote about. For me, that is the baseline. That is where you start, because today, as a real estate entrepreneur, and I call real estate agents real estate entrepreneurs, because this is your business. This is what you're working on continually. And there are 3 mindset shifts that I believe that every entrepreneur must have. So going back to, what mindset is, it is what drives you every day. It is what gets you out of the bed. It is what pulls you into what you're doing. It is what focuses you. It is when a client calls you and says, you know what, I'm not happy with this and I need more. Why is the seller not giving me, I need to negotiate this. That mindset is what, even after you get 5 no's, that mindset is what's going to keep you going. Now, when I look at it in 3 different buckets, right? So the first is the entrepreneurial mindset. It's very easy to say, you know what, you're a real estate entrepreneur, you have to be an entrepreneurial mindset. What does that really mean? What is an entrepreneurial mindset? Really, the way I break it down is that you need to have what I call is a learning attitude, right? In real estate, we say always be closing. I say always be learning. Even in every transaction, think to yourself, what have I learned from this transaction? What have I learned about myself? So many times when we're talking to clients or we're talking to other agents on the team, there's definitely something that you can take away from them, or some interaction that you have done that you can improve upon. So everything that you've done, think about what you've learned from it. Now, learning is not enough, because we go read so many books and we listen to so many podcasts, and that's only part of it. The main thing that switches is when you do it. When I say do, I mean take action, because action creates traction. if you do not do any action, what is all the knowledge for? The impact of knowledge only comes when you take action from it. So that's the necessary part of the entrepreneurial mindset. You're going through your life, you're going through transactions, you're listening to all this stuff, you're reading books. That's great. Now put it in action. And what I say is take biased action. So it could be anything. So for example, if you decide that, okay, I want to create a video, right? And that's, so many people stop at videos, especially women, because they feel like, how am I going to look on camera? How is my hair okay? Or my makeup or all of this stuff. Take biased action, create a video. Don't send it to anybody. At least just pick up the phone and create that video, because that is going to give you confidence to say, you know what, it wasn't that bad. Let me do it again. So whatever you decide to do, whatever you're learning currently, make sure that you do something, you actually create an action out of it. And which I call like a learn, do attitude, because learn it and do it. Because if you just keep learning, and do, you are going to lose momentum. And that's when that mindset of going down, where you feel like, oh my gosh, I haven't accomplished anything, and all of that happens. A couple of other very practical things, which I have done myself in terms of the entrepreneurial mindset. When at the end of the day, write down your wins for the day. You need to have, even if it is a very, very small win, maybe it is you picked up the phone and you talked to a new prospect, or it could be you created a video, or you walked into a builder salesperson's office and you talked to them about something new. There has to be at least 2 to 3 wins in a day. What is your win for today? Write it down. And it doesn't have to be really, really big. I mean, even for example, like sometimes when I'm writing articles, for me, it could be just writing an outline. That's my win for the day. At least it's one step closer. My biased action is getting me closer to my result. So that's very important. Another thing that I do every day, which helps me in my entrepreneurial mindset, is as I said, in the evenings, I do write down my wins. And that's something that I work towards. But also in the morning, and, which I call the power of 3. And I'm sure there's like tons and tons of things out there. There's the miracle morning. There's so many things that people have talked about your morning routine. But there's 3 things that I focus on. One is read, write, and meditate. That's it. I mean, just 10 minutes for each of those things every day makes a big difference. Because trust me, when I'm writing, after I'm reading, like it sparks so many ideas in the mornings. And then by the time I'm done through the day, it invariably happens that one of those wins is related to what I've written in the morning.
Ah, that's so cool.
It does. And it just gets you going. So as, cliched as it sounds, and so many people talk about it, but unless you do it, you don't see that result.
So true.
That's really the entrepreneurial mindset. And really, I want real estate agents, realtors to start thinking about themselves as entrepreneurs. It is a mindset shift. You're not there for every transaction. This is your business. Treat it as a business. Treat it as your entrepreneurial venture.
I love that. And I don't think I've ever heard real estate described in that way before, but now that you've explained it, it makes so much sense. And that's a really cool way and a cool approach to the business that we're in.
Thank you. But yeah, it totally worked because it is your business. That's how you should look at it.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then the second bucket I talked about as well, which I believe in very, very much, is abundance mindset. And there's tons of things out there as in terms of abundance mindset, but really, what does it mean for realtors? There's so many unfortunately, in our industry, there's so many times where realtors are not given the merit. They work so hard, but at the end of the day, they're like, wait, really? Like, this is it? And I feel like having an abundance mindset, which is really a win-win situation, is so important. So think of it this way, right? So many times we think of a transaction as only a transaction, right? And our other side agent, so like be it a buyer's agent or a listing agent, is almost like an adversary because we're thinking, oh my gosh, no, like I want to make sure that I get better, or I want to make sure that this listing is mine. I want to make sure that when it comes to commission, perhaps, this is what I'm getting out of it. Really, the way to look at it is a win-win situation and have the mindset of sharing. because at the end of the day, it does come around. And there's so many instances I can cite, even in terms commission, or even in terms of working with other agents on the other side. I'll tell you, I mean, there's a transaction that I'm working on currently, actually, where I literally thought that it was done. Like this, I'm on the listing side and the appraisal came back. Appraisal did not meet value and quite, well below value. And I was like, okay, this is it. Like we're done. And my seller is not willing to work towards it. The buyer is like, this is not happening. But having that abundance mindset on both sides, so my buyer's agent as well as we sat down and we said, okay, what can we do to save this deal? What can we do together so that we're not feeling like the seller is winning or the buyer is winning? Let's come together. Mind you, the seller and buyer did not want to negotiate. So it absolutely was magic when both of us sat together and we said, let's try to make this work and see what happens. And it's that whole camaraderie, the way you look at it in terms of abundance mindset, you know what? When this goes through, we're definitely having a drink because this is just amazing. And it makes you feel so good about it. And tomorrow morning, if there's another chance for me to work with this agent or if I have to refer somebody, I'm going to go to her because I know that she's there. She's positive. She has an open mentality. And that's how I think we as real estate agents can really switch that bad rap that we have. It is through abundance mindset because the more you give, the more you get.
And you mentioned in your article too that there's enough to go around for everyone.
Absolutely.
And that's so important to keep in mind too, because you're right. We do get into that competitive mode and that, it's us versus me versus you, but we're all in it to win. We all want to make a deal happen. And like you said, let's figure out how to do it.
And also think about even me, right? I'm not I've been in this industry 2.5 years. It took me a lot. So we have in Houston, cultural buyers, and typically cultural buyers do tend to negotiate for commission. In the beginning of my career, I was like, I want business. Like, tell me what I can do to get this done. Like, okay, I need to reduce my commission. But now I'm like, why? I bring so much value to the table. If you don't see me as that person who can guide you through this process, that's okay. I'm okay because you know what? There's going to be 5 other people that would absolutely see my value and would want to work with me. And you know what? That's what happens the moment I started saying no. Because you know what? It always happens. If you work at a discount commission, you end up working more. Even though you feel like, you know what, I'm going to give them a little bit less because these are the services. But no, you're going to end up working because that's your work ethic. You're going to do what it takes to get it done. The moment I started saying no because I realized my own value, I said, you know what, it's okay. There's other people out there that's willing to work with me. And that's what happened. I truly believe that abundance mindset is what is going to help you grow and grow in a very positive way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love what you said too about, I think we get so caught up in saying that we have to say yes to everything, even though that stuff, we kind of really don't want to do, that it's okay to say no sometimes.
Exactly.
And it's okay to say this isn't the best fit for me. And, as realtors, we do such a great job of, selling houses, but sometimes we got to sell ourselves too. And remember our own value and our worth and find those things that fit into our bigger picture and that make sense for us. And that might not be every single thing that falls across our plate.
And I think you feel more empowered when you say no.
It's scary. The first couple times you do it, you're like, oh no, what am I saying? And then you're like, I kind of like this.
Exactly. In the beginning, you feel like you're going to lose out. Oh, I'm going to miss out on this. Oh, what's going to happen? But that moment you say no, oh my gosh, you'll feel so much more empowered. You're like, no, there's definitely something bigger and better coming out there for me.
Absolutely. And it's just pushing you to, your whatever's meant to be for you next and keeping you in alignment with the things that are meant to be for you. So, and you got one more mindset shift for us. Bring us number 3.
Yes. So the third one is what I call a purpose-driven mindset. And this is something that is going to keep us going for years to come. So have you heard, I'm sure you've heard of, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners and perhaps realtors as well have heard of Simon Sinek's why, what's my why, right? I believe that Simon Sinek's why is what gets you up in the morning. right? This is what I need to do. This is my why. My family is my why. This is the reason. My boys, my husband. That's what makes you get up in the morning and do what you're supposed to do. But having a purpose is what gets you in this business year after year after year, because that is the reason what you're working for. This is the bigger picture. This is your vision. This is what you're working towards. When I look at it, I look at my why as my daily. This is my daily motivation. This is why I'm getting out of my bed. This is why I'm going to pick up the phone call or pick up that phone and make 5 phone calls today to 5 random people, right? Not easy, but I'm going to do it. But my purpose for what I'm doing, that bigger picture, that bigger vision, is what keeps me going year after year. Now, it could be, it differs for everybody. Everybody, it's different, right? For some people, it's building a legacy. They want to build a legacy for their family. They want to, have a certain vision. That's great. That's their vision and that's their purpose. For some people, I'd mentioned in my article as well, I know somebody who builds every year, goes and builds homes for the military personnel. Or there's the homeless, and I have people that go to Puerto Rico and, different places, and they build homes, actually like physically build these homes. I mean, that's amazing. I don't think I could ever do that.
Very cool.
Exactly. And that's their purpose. For me, I'm in this space for women entrepreneurs, right? Since the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, it's always been about women entrepreneurs and empowerment. And that's what I've been doing. And that is my purpose. That's what I'm doing, because every day when I meet a difficult client, or when I am juggling my kids and activities and I'm on the phone and my kids are like, Mom, is that client? I'm like, yes, that is my purpose, is to give to other women entrepreneurs. So everybody's purpose is going to be different, but that, I believe, if you have that purpose, and it's not if, you have to have a purpose, because if you don't have a purpose, after 2 years, after 3 years, you're going to lose interest. This is not a job, right? A job is where you go 9 to 5 and you're just working towards the next level, and then you move on to the next level. Entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. You walk through it, and the only thing that's going to keep you going is that purpose. When I'm sitting here and when I'm talking to you now, I'm already thinking, okay, you know what? There's so many other women realtors out there that have such amazing stories. So what can I do to help bring their stories out? I mean, constantly, because I'm thinking that way, this is the knowledge that I want to share. And so it helps me come out of my comfort zone, because if I can do it, I can show other people that it can be done. Have that purpose, because that is truly your bigger vision that you're working towards. So really, your real estate journey is going to be a bunch of phone calls. It's going to be lead generation. It is, your CRM systems, your videos, all of that stuff. But when you get these 3 things aligned, and entrepreneurial mindset is a daily work. It's not a switch on that, okay, it's on and now you're gone, right? The purpose-driven mindset is more a long-term mindset. So once you have it set, you're good, because you're working towards it and it keeps you excited. An abundance mindset is something that you have it, once that thing clicks in your mind, you're good to go, because that's become your mindset now, and that's how you're going to work towards it every day. But an entrepreneurial mindset is what you work on every day, because that is what you need every day to keep you going.
And how you're going to approach, your day-to-day life, your business, and, how you just approach and embrace real estate in general. With that kind of mindset, it can really elevate and transform your business into something big.
Exactly. So it's almost like a funnel, right? So you think of this overarching purpose-driven mindset, and it goes into your abundance mindset, and your daily work is your entrepreneurial mindset.
That's amazing. Such good information, such good tips, lots to think about. I know I'm thinking of ways that I can use this as I approach my day-to-day life too. And I think can apply to, your personal life as well as your professional life too. The same kind of thinking. Well, this has been so amazing, Smita. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a true pleasure. Congratulations on your amazing real estate success in such a short amount of time, and for sharing all of this wonderful mindset magic with the real estate world today. So thank you so much for joining me. I've truly enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you so much, Allison.
And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for listening to The Real View. That wraps up today's episode. You can keep up with the latest on the podcast at ohiorealtors.org/therealview and on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Have questions, comments, or suggestions? We want to hear from you. Email us at podcast@ohiorealtors.org. We'll see you next time.
This has been a Humble Pod production.